What is going on, you beautiful people? Welcome back to TV and Me. I'm of course Kevin, and it's time again for the Walking Dead weekend. Yes, I am back, and this time in better spirits than last time. After Glenn's death, it took a day or two to get over it, but now I've had time, like always, I've had time to think about it, I've had time to process it, and I'm actually feeling a lot better now. I understand why the writers would take Glenn out of the show at this point, mainly because, you know, it adds a new dynamic with the group. We're going to see how Maggie deals with the situation. We're actually going to see how Rick and the entire group deal with Glenn going. Because, let's be honest, Glenn has been there from season 1. And he's one of the more stronger characters, you know. He was always the guy that was going on those errands which could get you killed. Because they knew he was fast. They knew he was smart. They knew that he would get out of those situations. And actually, the way Glenn went out was actually one of the biggest surprises. The fact he went out by walkers. Because, like I say, he is a strong character, and I always suspected that he would go out by a human, because we've seen in this world and in episodes in the past that when they think it's a human coming out of the bush, they're all on their guard, they're ready to fight, but the second a walker stumbles out of the bushes, they let their guard down, they relax, and they're suddenly like, okay, we can deal with this is easy. But him going out by walkers sort of is a big disappointment to me. I always thought Glenn was stronger than that, but in a way, it wasn't his fault anyway. And that actually leads into my Patreon question. Now, I'm doing a new segment, as I mentioned before, my Patreon question of the week, and I was meant to do one last episode, but as you can imagine, with me being down in the dumps and, you know, upset about Glenn's death, I really didn't feel like talking about it. But the Patreon question of the week is actually from Scott Wiley, and he asked me, who do I blame for Glenn's death? And I touched upon it a bit in last review, but I honestly blame Nicholas. Now, there's a case to be made that I could blame Glenn himself, because he's the one that let Nicholas off the hook, and he's the one that kept him alive, which ultimately cost Glenn his life, because, you know, Nicholas decided to be a coward in that last moment, take his own life, and then fall into the walkers, and if that wasn't enough, he took Glenn with him. Which, you know, you could circle it all the way back to Glenn, but I blame Nicholas, you know. We'd given him the benefit of the doubt. I'd started to show trust in him when he started to lead them, you know, show him the way to get back to Alexandria, when he was trying to show him buildings to set on fire. But ultimately, Nicholas's decisions, Nicholas's cowardice is what got Glenn killed. And it's a shame. It's a real shame. And, you know, I'm going to miss Glenn. I said it before in my last review as well, but Glenn was a really strong character. He was a character which I admired. I'd grown to, you know, love as a character, because, you know, I grow attached to all these characters in Team Fam, because we watch them week in, week out. We watch them through their struggles, and even though, like I say, it's fiction, you become to know these characters, and I'm going to miss him. I really am. So moving away from Glenn, unfortunately, I don't want to, but we're going to have to. A couple of other things happened in last episode which I should mention before we get into this episode, because of course I didn't mention them last time. But we also had Rick, who tried to make his way back to the RV in order to get ahead of the walkers that, you know, split off from the main group. He tried to get ahead of them so he could head them off and then lead them away from Alexandria, and he did. He got to the RV, he got into place, but we saw at the end there, not only was he attacked by the wolves, which had, you know, and I did say last episode in the last review actually that I didn't think they were wolves, but a few of my patrons let me know that they were wolves. They were the wolves that came out of Alexandria, so that makes perfect sense. I don't know why I didn't think they were. I think it's because one of them wasn't dressed like the other wolves was, so that's why I thought it. Rick met them. They stumbled into him outside in the RV. He got into a fight with them. He came out on top. He killed them. He also killed the ones on the outside of the RV that were heading towards him by spraying them down with his AK. And it looked like he'd got out of that situation. But just as the walkers arrived at his RV, the RV wouldn't start. As per usual in this Walking Dead world, something has to go wrong. Murphy's Law is in action, and that's where it left us, unfortunately. Him stuck in the RV, walkers surrounding him, some on their way to Alexandria. No doubt some are going to trap him in that RV, and who knows what's going to happen. Also, last episode, unsurprisingly for me, we saw a number of Alexandrians die again. those that were out with Rick's group trying to deal with the Walker situation. We saw a couple of people die. We saw that young lad, I can't remember his name now, but we also saw the guy with the wife Betsy, who unfortunately, because Michonne didn't take his note, it's not going to make its way back to Alexandria because he dropped it when he was being attacked by the Walkers. But there's also the chance that Betsy isn't alive anyway, because of course the wolves attacked Alexandria and a number of people died, so that's completely possible. We also saw a couple of other Alexandrians die, and I think the only ones we've got left are... I know we've got Heath left. Who else have we got? We've got a couple of other people, a couple of other walking wounded, haven't we? Whose names I don't know again, but hopefully they get back in time to help the Alexandrians fend off the Walkers, because like I say, it doesn't look like Rick is going to be able to lead them away in the opposite direction. So I have to say as well, actually, I was really impressed with Michonne's speech in that episode. I think it may be up there with some of my favourite speeches in this whole series. I went back and watched the episode, actually, as I always do on these big episodes, after I'd done my reaction, and I got that hell yeah moment again when Michonne was laying it down to Heath and saying how even though he's been beyond the wall, he hasn't had to go through the same sort of suffering that Rick has, that Michonne has, that all of Rick's group has. He's had it easy in comparison. And that whole speech that Michonne gave about, you know, you haven't experienced your friend's blood over your face, you know, not knowing if you're going to survive to the next second. And like I say, one of my favourite speeches, and it's easily up there with Morgan's speech, you know, in that episode Clear. That's one of my favourite speeches as well as a number of Rick speeches which he's given over the series. But I had to mention it because I may eventually put together a little segment of my favourite speeches of the show, of the entire Walking Dead so far, and that's definitely going to be up there. So I guess we better get into this episode, and the big question going forward is, of course, can Rick lead those walkers away? Can he get that RV started and move in, you know? Because I really feel like Alexandria's survival depends on that. So let's get into this episode. Let's see what happens. This is Season 6, Episode 4. Oh, Morgan, my boy.
You said you liked talking. I remember that. And you said that you want everything that I have. Every last bit.
So he didn't kill him.
Well, here it is. Every last bit.
Oh shit, we're getting a Morgan flashback. Woohoo! Clear.
Clear.
Speaking of Clear.
We weren't supposed to be there. You had the gun! You were supposed to. You know that you were supposed to!
I'm all down for a Morgan flashback episode. I've been wondering what turned him from that point of insanity. So this must be after he's actually met Rick. He's still doing his job of clearing up all the walkers. And I think that beginning bit was him burning down his old place where he was staying, wasn't it? So I remember him when he was in a conversation with Rick in an earlier episode. He said that he had a friend who he learned his stick skills from. So I'm guessing we're going to see in this episode who that friend was, and I'm guessing they die. Oh shit. Oh.
You don't!
Holy shit. I never ever thought I would see Morgan do that. I know he'd lost his mind, but I didn't think he'd be that gung-ho with people. A piece of beauty in all that misery. That's pretty much a metaphor for the whole of The Walking Dead, I think. Is he gonna go all crazy again? I've got a feeling that goat's days are very numbered.
Can you step away from the goat? She's not yours. And I still need her. I'm still figuring out how to make cheese.
Fucking hell, Morgan. I thought Rick was bad.
We'll talk.
Is that a stick I saw?
Sorry. What's your name?
Kill me.
That's a stupid name. It's dangerous. You should change it.
Kill me.
Shit, he's even cleaning the stick like more.
That's terrible. That. Oh, God, that is.
God damn it, I don't want this guy to die. Ah!
I just wanted to wait a little while before we talked. I'm from Atlanta. I'm a forensic psychiatrist.
Oh
The
shit.
state employed me to determine if certain people who did very bad things would do them again if they were released from prison. What did you do, or what do you do now?
I clear.
What the hell does that mean?
Walkers, people, anything that gets anywhere near me, I kill them.
Why?
Because that's why I'm still here.
Oh. That's the biggest load of horseshit I ever heard.
I never ever thought I would see Morgan as the bad guy in a situation, but it's completely obvious that he will kill this guy.
It's PTSD. You've been through trauma.
You see that blood on the end of my stick? At the sharp end? That was two men. Father and son, maybe. Other one I strangled, no rope, just my hands. That was the day before I came here. Maybe the same day. I don't know.
They were threatening you, attacking you?
Not all of them.
You save anyone? You saved people.
Pointless acts.
You had someone you loved, didn't you? Children? You loved them. You love them a lot if you're like this. You saw it happen. That's how this started, right? It's all happening right in front of your eyes over and over. Your body's here, but your mind is still there. There's a door, and you want to go through it to get away from it. So you do, and it leads you right back to that moment, and you see that door again, and you know it won't work, but hell, maybe it'll work. So you step through that door, and you're right back in that horrible moment every time. So you just want to stop opening that door. So you just sit in it. But I assure you, one of those doors leads out, my friend.
Oh, I'm gonna kill you.
Why?
Because I have to clear.
See, that's the thing. You don't. That door right there, the cell door, it's open. I threw the key in the river a while back. I'm not going to hold you anymore. I can't stop you. Go, clear, or stay. Crash on the couch, and we'll try to find you another way.
God, I hope it's not Morgan who does eventually kill him.
Don't
Stop. I gave you two choices. The door or the couch.
I guess we know which road he takes, but still.
It was Aikido. That's how I kicked your ass earlier. Well, that's how I redirected your ass. One night, my 5-year-old daughter found me crying in the garage after about 8 beers. Told her I wasn't feeling too good. She gave me this. She'd won it at a carnival at school that day.
That's what he was carrying.
She said it'd make me lucky and I'd feel better. Next morning, I found a flyer for Aikido. Damn thing worked.
Your wife and your daughter. It did.
It was Aikido. It'll help. And you obviously need help if we're gonna make this trip. Can't just be me and you to the end. You're a shit conversationalist, and I can't make this trip by myself.
This trip where?
I have no idea.